Hello guys, Jan here again with another video of Excel VBA. So far in the series we have learned several things basically. We started with hierarchy of Excel objects, then we have moved on how to work with those objects and how to address them. Then we talked a little bit about declaring variables and setting up the worksheets or workbooks inside of a variable. Then we talked about a little bit about the dynamic navigation through the worksheet, how to count the last row in certain column, how to count the last column in certain row. And then we have constructed a simple for next loop with checking some conditions in between and acting based upon the outcome of those conditions. So let's run it just to demonstrate. So in column A, all this loop has done was gone through every cell in column A all the way through the last row, and if there was value by in that cell, it moved it to column B on the same row, and if there was something else, then it got deleted. Then we talked about do until loop, which we have demonstrated on this sheet. So if I run this do until loop with offset function right now by pressing F5, and then this will be the outcome. If you're interested on how this was constructed and about the details of do until loop, please see the previous video. And at the latest video, the one before this one, we have put what we have learned so far into practice by working on the actual database with invoices, numbers, company names, products, net sales and costs. And our objective was to calculate the profit for each invoice number. For that we have used for next loop again, then we have used do while loop, and we have also used the offset function as well. So if you're interested on how this has been constructed and how this code exactly works, then go see the previous video. Okay, in this video I will show you the other loop that is available in the VBA, and that loop is called for each loop. So going back to the training sheet, on the sheet here for each, I have a list of randomized numbers. The numbers go from 10 to 50 basically. And let's make up a completely artificial description of a problem, but it will demonstrate for us how the for each loop work. So let's see that we want every number that is greater or equal to 20 but smaller than 50, we want that cell to be highlighted in red. And if there is a number that doesn't fall into this range, which would be 10 and 50, then we need to multiply those numbers by 5, let's say. So as I said, completely made up problem, but let's see how the loop works. So I have already inserted the new procedure in here. I named it for each, And how do we start? First, we need to select all the numbers on the sheet. So how do we select the range? Okay, so we can just copy the command here, which will find out the last row in the first column for us, and also this one here, which will find out the last column in the first row for us. We have learned this in some of the previous videos. And now we need to select the range. So how do we select the range? Okay, we start typing range and we open parentheses. And since we are going to be working only on this active sheet for each, we are not going to have to declare any sheet variables, or start defining the sheet names in front of the range and everything, because we are not basically switching the sheets or workbooks. So all that we are going to do is going to be happening on currently active sheet. So we can start straight away typing range, open parentheses, and we need to define the starting cell of our range, which would be cells, open parentheses. That first cell of our range would be in row 1, column 1, so 1, comma 1, close parentheses, and we have to go to the finishing cell at the end of our range. So we again type cells, open parentheses, and here we have to say row index would be whatever the last row is, so LR. Column index would be whatever the last column is, so we would select the entire range, so LC. We close parentheses and we close it again because we need to finish the complete range. And we press dot and find select, click tab to use the selection from the drop down menu. Okay, so if we run it so far step by step by pressing F8, 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 last row in column 1 is 22, last column in row 1 is 20, and this will select our range. Okay, you can see that the whole range has been selected. Of course, we can use just one parameter for last row, because we know that each column has the same number for last row, so we can use that. If it didn't, that we would have to go around it a little bit different way. Okay, so we have range selected, and now we need to do the operation that we have specified. So we said that whenever there's a number 20 or higher but lower than 50, then we will highlight that cell in red. And if there's some other number not falling within this range, we will multiply it by 5. Okay, so for this we will utilize for each loop, for each, and we use the variable c for cell. And where we are going to be looping, we are going to be looping in selection. So in selection, okay, so because that's where our cells are, and we are closing the loop with next C. Okay, whatever variable you have here, you have to have here. Okay, so let's define the first condition using if statement. If C, now if I press dot, okay, carry on. Normally it displays the drop down menu, but for some reason it didn't. So value, and we said greater than, we said greater than or equals to 20, and C value is less than 50. I don't know why I keep typing like a. Then we highlight that cell in red. So for this we use interior dot color, and the code for red color is 255, so equals 255. And if those numbers don't fall into that range, then we multiply them by 5. So else C value equals C value times 5. And we end if. Okay, and that's just about it really. So let's reset the running procedure. Select some cell so you would see the full function of this procedure, and just run it. And it's done, and you can see that every cell in the selected range has been examined and evaluated for the condition. First condition was if you find a number 20 or greater but lower than 50, highlight that cell in red. Yeah, which has been done. You can see that all the 30s and 20s and 40s are red. Yeah. And the other condition was if you find a number that doesn't fall into this range, which is 10 and 50, you multiply those by 5. So you can see that you have only 250s and 50s that are not highlighted. Yeah. So this is how for each loop works. At this time we have used it for each cell in selected range. Okay, thank you for watching. Next time, in next video, we are going to continue with for each loop, but this time we will be looping through each worksheet in the workbook. Yeah, so I'll tell you how to do that or show you how to do that in the next video. Thank you and see you in the next video. Bye.